For most of us, our home is our single biggest asset, right? But what if I told you that most of its value is totally locked up, almost impossible to get to without a mountain of paperwork and weeks of just waiting? Well, today we're going to look at some new tech that's using AI to basically crack open that vault and turn your property into a liquid asset you can use in days, not months. All right, let's get into it. So here's the game plan. First, we're going to dig into real estate's huge liquidity problem. Then we'll see exactly how AI is unlocking all that trapped value. We'll get to know Resi Finance, the company making this happen. And then, and this is a big one, we'll look at a $16 billion company that proves this model works. And finally, we'll talk about what this whole new era for property really means for you and me. All right, first things first, let's start with the core issue. We all know our homes are valuable, but that value, it's pretty much trapped inside the four walls. I mean, think about it for a second. If you need cash, how do you get at the equity in your home? The traditional routes are, a home equity loan or refinancing. And that whole process, well, let's just be honest, it's slow, it's expensive, and it's a massive headache. And this right here, this is what's so wild. The old way takes weeks, sometimes even a month, and it can cost you thousands in fees. It's complicated and, frankly, super stressful. The new way we're talking about today? 2 days for a couple $100. Simple and totally secure. The difference is just insane. So the big question is, how on earth is this even possible? And the answer, maybe not surprisingly, is all about the technology. Specifically, a really powerful new way of using AI. Okay, so the whole system is built on something called an oracle. Now, that might sound like something out of a fantasy movie, right? But really, it's just a system that's designed to provide one thing: truth. And in real estate, the truth is knowing what a property is actually worth. This AI oracle, which is built on a decentralized network called BitTensor, can figure out an accurate real-time price for any property. And having that verifiable truth is the absolute first step to doing anything financial with it. Now, this next part is the key innovation. It's really the secret sauce. In the past, people who tried to tokenize real estate made things way too complicated. You literally had to transfer your home's ownership to an LLC, which for most people is a huge and kind of scary step. The real genius here is that they're not tokenizing the property itself, they're tokenizing a lien, which is just an official claim against the property, kind of like a mortgage. It's so much simpler and, most importantly, way safer for you, the homeowner. And look, this isn't just some digital magic happening in the clouds. It's grounded in the real world. To make sure everything is completely secure and legit, the process still follows all the critical legal steps. There's a title check to verify you own it, you sign the docs, and a real-life notary confirms everything's in order. It's only after that official lien is recorded that the tokens are created on the blockchain. So you get the best of both worlds, modern tech with proven real-world security. Okay, so you've used this AI-powered system, you've created a secure token that represents a piece of your home's value. Cool. Now what? Well, this is where Resi Finance comes in, and this is where that token turns into actual cash. I just want to pause on this number for a second. $200. That's about what it costs to unlock the value in your home. It's not $2,000 or $5,000, which is what you might pay in fees for a traditional loan. At this price, it's not just for big investors. It makes accessing your own equity possible for pretty much any homeowner out there. And then you've got the speed. Not 2 weeks, not 2 months, 2 days. From the moment you start the process to having a liquid digital asset sitting in your wallet, it takes what used to be this slow, paper-filled nightmare and turns it into a fast, streamlined digital transaction. It's incredible. So here's the final piece of the puzzle. Once you have those tokens, you don't even have to sell them. You can instantly use them as collateral to get a low-interest loan right out of the Resi Finance vault. Your token is the proof of your equity, and the money's just sitting there, waiting. No credit checks, no underwriters, just instant cash. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds a little too good to be true, right? A bit theoretical? Well, there is a massive, real-world precedent that proves this model isn't just some niche idea. It's a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. $16 billion. That's the valuation of a company called Figure. They were one of the first to use a faster, tech-based approach for home equity loans. Now, their model is centralized, but their huge success proves one thing beyond any doubt. The demand for a faster, simpler way to get cash from your home is absolutely enormous. So how does Figure, the centralized version, actually work? It's pretty straightforward. You've got investors who deposit digital dollars.
Figure then uses that cash to give home equity loans to homeowners. They now own those mortgages, which they bundle up and sell off to big financial institutions. The key thing to understand here is that it's a closed system. It's all controlled by one company behind their own walls.
Okay, now let's compare that to the Resi Finance model. It starts kind of the same way investors put funds into a vault. But here's the big difference. Homeowners with their tokenized liens can borrow directly from that public vault. Everything is totally transparent on the blockchain. And instead of one company controlling everything, it's an open network where anyone can participate. This isn't just building a company, it's building an entire ecosystem. So what does all this mean for the average person, for homeowners, for property investors? Well, it signals a really fundamental shift in how we think about our property, from just a static place where we live to a dynamic, productive asset that can work for us. This quote really just captures the whole revolutionary idea. Imagine being able to sell, say, 50 grand worth of your house and never having to pay it back. That's what this system makes possible. Instead of taking on more debt, you can just sell a small piece of your equity. It's not a loan, it's a partial sale. That's a completely new option that homeowners have never had before. And for all you investors out there, this is where things get really interesting with a concept they call looping. So imagine you have a tokenized Airbnb that's making you a 15% annual yield. You can then borrow against that token from the vault for, let's say, 5%. You take that borrowed money, you reinvest it into another asset that's also making a high yield, and you can repeat the process. By doing this, you're literally amplifying your returns, maybe turning a 15% yield into 30% or even more. Your asset isn't just sitting there, it's actively making you more money. And that all leaves us with this final, really powerful question. We've always thought of real estate as being stable, but slow, illiquid. What happens to our economy, to our personal finances, when the single largest asset class on the entire planet becomes instantly liquid, easily tradable, and capable of generating a yield? It's a profound shift, and honestly, we are just at the very, very beginning of seeing how this is all going to unfold.